Okay, good. Whoa, it's been a very emotional night. Thank you all, and it's really, really encouraging and inspiring to see so many familiar faces, people who have been doing this work way before me, and who will continue to do the work after me. I just want to give a shout out to our young people again. This was a challenge for them, a very quick challenge. They researched the topic, and they were given a short time frame to come up with that song, and it was internalized and put out in a very deep way. So I just thank you guys so much. And that is the hope right there. That is my hope. I know it's been a long night, so I'm going to try to summarize these bullets. It's pretty long, but I'm going to try to summarize as much as I can. And I really appreciate what Senator Owens had mentioned in looking at the history of this epidemic. What I like to focus on is the personal is political. There is no difference. There is no separation. The personal is political. And in my introduction, there was a little bit about my personal story. And part of that personal story was when I began to look at some of the social, economic, and political issues that were faced in my community or people like me, I started to realize I wasn't alone. That there were many young people at 15 or younger getting pregnant. This wasn't a personal problem, it's a societal problem. And when we look at HIV and AIDS, and we look at the medications and the treatments, we have to look at the social structures and systems that are in place. Do we have treatment on demand? Do we have treatment on demand? No. So if someone wants to go get treatment tomorrow, can they go get treatment tomorrow? No. Do we have quality, affordable health care? No. Do we have adequate school systems? No. These systems are not personal problems. They're political problems. And when we look at the structure and the inequality in income or the income divide, you see the people, the 1%, making more and more money, and the people, the 99%, making less and less and less. These are not personal problems. These are systemic problems. These are political problems. These corporations have people lobbying so that they don't have to pay the same amount of taxes we pay. We pay more taxes than someone making millions of dollars. Why is that? So when we look at the issues around HIV, for me, when I'm talking about me putting myself at risk, and we talk about HIV, people putting themselves at risk, it's about hopelessness. It was about me not caring about myself, not respecting myself, not having any idea of a future. And that's what we're struggling with, is hopelessness. Look at our graduation rate here in New Bedford. Would we say that we're a model for successful educational systems with a 55% graduation rate? Almost half the students are dropping out. What does that say in terms of hope for individuals? So I think one of the things for me is a lot of the times these systematic structural things that are in place shape the way that we perceive ourselves. And I'm grateful and empowered by everybody that's here, and I know it's supposed to be an inspirational message, and I told Shelly, I don't know if I'm going to be inspired because there's still a lot of work to do. There's still a lot of work to do. And it starts with the personal, which is us valuing who we are. Because there's so many people telling us we're not valuable. And when you look at oppression and all the different isms, there's so much divide and conquer that we can't recognize our true, unique beauty and what we contribute to the world. It's powerful. So first, it is personal and valuing ourselves, because when we value ourselves, we're not putting ourselves at risk. We're not numbing our pain with drugs. We're not dropping out of school. We're dreaming. And we're making our dreams real. But when there's systems in place that stop you from doing that, we have to become active. It's getting worse and worse and worse when we look at all these things that are impacting us. We have to look at the systems. We have to look at the structures. and how it is that we interact with each other. How much of it is us playing a role? Oh, I'm better than her because I got a better job. Or he got better clothes, so I'm less than. Or she's skinnier, or she's lighter, or whatever it is. Whatever ways we find ways to divide ourselves and separate ourselves from each other. We have to look at what it is that's creating that. It's a plan. It's called divide and conquer. It's been around since slavery. Willie Lynch was the author. It's divide and conquer mentality, because the more we're looking at each other, the less we're looking at the system and the policies and the corrupt inequalities and disparities that exist. So I just challenge, this is an inspirational challenge, that we start to look at this, because the stigma and discrimination that we see with HIV is set in place to increase infections. As long as that stigma and discrimination exists, infections will continue to exist. We just found a way to subjugate another population and keep things in the status quo. Why is it that 60% of our budget is going to the military? 60% of our budget. And then the 40% gets divided up. And education looks this big, health looks this big. I have a scale on my office wall if you want to come check it out, 28 Union Street. But we're giving like 3% towards health, 3% towards education. It's a systemic problem. And we're not looking at that. We're not looking at those systems and how they affect how we perceive each other. We're over here fighting and fighting and fighting, trying and trying and trying and struggling and struggling and struggling. But if those things don't change, the struggle will continue. The system needs to change. So I think we said it all throughout the day or the evening. Our young people are my hope. And I feel like we really need to be breaking these barriers. We need to be telling them that we care. We need to tell ourselves we care. I'm trying to learn self-care right now as we speak. It's a challenge, especially people like us who give so much. We always put ourselves to the back burner. But learning to honor and love ourselves. And that's how we learn to love each other. But we really need to break the barriers. I'm really discouraged at the level of awareness or conversations around HIV. It's no longer an issue. And cancer has become the biggest issue. You see it everywhere, every color ribbon for cancer. And the thing about this is 100% preventable. 100% preventable. This virus can stop with this generation. Seriously, realistically speaking, it can stop with this generation, but we can't ignore it and act like it doesn't exist. I think for me, my transformation, and then when we're talking about leadership, like I'm so thankful for the elders that are here, because they're the people who I looked up to, some of my peers that I did work with in different community groups. We have to continue the fight. Even though we're tired, we can't give up. We can't give up, but we have each other. And we are the majority. We are. So, on the count of 3, I want everybody to say what Senator Owen said: we will win. 1, 2, 3.
We will win!
Yes, we will. Thank you very much.